Howdy guys, it's Luke at Luke's APS, and in this video we're going to be showing you how to make an ocean board without using any resin whatsoever. I'll see you after this. Right guys, so yes, building an ocean table without resin. It has been something I have been asked for quite a while. One, because resin, it does add up, especially when you're working on a 4x4 or anything bigger, and you know, like 2/3 of that board is going to be water. Why would you use resin? There's a few reasons why you'd use resin, especially near the islands. I'd like to use resin, especially on this board. I wanted to use resin. So near the islands, I could do rockeries under the water. I could put plant life like coral and all that sort of stuff in under. When you don't use resin, that then becomes impossible unless you're good at painting, and then you could actually go in and paint it all by hand and then pour what we're going to pour on top in this video. So you are limited with it, but you can still get some nice effects and it's not going to break the bank, okay? So yeah, let's roll the footage, let's show you how I've done it, and I'll see you at the end of the video. I'll catch you in a bit.
Right, so first off, what you need to get yourself is a sandy coloured paint and just dry brush this on following the beach, so it's simulating the beach disappearing into the depths of the sea. If this is a little harsh, don't worry about it, because the water will diffuse the sand underneath. Now for water effects, we're going to be using Clearfix, which can be purchased from my store at www.geekgaming.co.uk. We're mixing this together with isopropanol and a few splashes of wash just to mix it down to a really good consistency for pouring and putting in as wave effects. Now mix this round till it's like the sort of consistency of a warm Marmite or honey, shall we say. And once you've got it to that sort of consistency, just pull this around and get it so you've got a nice even coverage over a small proportion of the board. You wouldn't be able to do a board this size using the isopropanol because it is rather dry, rather quick drying. I am working on a medium at the moment to slow the drying time of the Clearfix down, so when you're working on large body of water, it gives you a lot longer working time to play with it. Now to just get some water texture, as you can see, we're just dragging the spatula back on ourselves just a little bit, just to simulate some nice movement of water. Now when you move on to the second layer, shall we call it, as in the next bit, completely do exactly the same thing. Now what you'll find is where the original first pour was, that will be nearly, well, it'll be drying, so it'll be a lot firmer. So as you're trying to blend this together, you might see a bit of a line. Now the way to get rid of that is spray it with isopropanol and just carry on doing it. And as you're working like this methodically, you'll hide all your join lines and everything else, because the ISO will reactivate the older stuff below. Once you've got it up to the beach, we're just again doing the same again, but we're just following the waves with the beach. And just keep following the beach, because as this starts to set, it'll start to hold its shape. And as you can see, we've got some nice ripples going towards the beach. So when it comes to putting the waves on top of them nice ripples, like the water breaking, you'll have a nice consistent wave that follows the landform underneath. And we'll just repeat this process all over the board. Now for getting the water that's sort of washing up the beach and then washing back as the tide coming in or out to simulate, for example, we're just pouring some clear with no colour in right up to the beach, and then blend it in with a popsicle stick or tongue depressor, whatever you've got to use, and just tap that down near the beach, because what that'll do is blend it in nicely rather than having a sharp edge. And just do this till you're happy with the sort of the distance that it's on there. It will sort of darken it down a little bit as well, so you'll get that simulation of wet sand, and then just keep pushing areas of it back to simulate the water breaking as it's whooshing back into the sea, and just keep doing that until you're done.
Right guys, so I've had to cut it short. With the size of this board, using the Clearfix for the waves is fine, because you're only working in small areas when you're doing the waves. But when you're using it for large bodies of water, it's easy when there's two of you doing it. when there's one of you, you start running out of time. So what happened was, as I'm starting to move it and flatten it out, I was getting like trowel lines in the board. And I was getting a bit like, oh, it still looks okay. It just didn't look as natural and as smooth as water does. And I was getting a bit annoyed. So I just stopped recording. And with it being a client's board, I've had to just put my effort into getting it finished. So I got it as flat as I could. They were like dribble, like when you use a hot glue gun and you pull it around, you get like the spider webbing sort of thing. It had that sort of texture in spaces where I've moved my trowel because it was starting to dry. Even though I sprayed it with ice so it wouldn't drop down, and loads of little lines and zigzags across. So how I've got rid of this, it looks a bit of a mess at the minute, but I've already done one coat and it smoothed it right down. I'm doing the final coat now and you'll see what I mean. So I'll flip the camera around, we'll have a proper look and I'll talk you through what I've done. Right, so what we've done, as you can see, it's all very white at the minute, okay? Now the reason for this is, you see that over there? Whoop! That's gloss Ronsil varnish, the interior varnish that I use for making washers and use as a cheap matte medium. Now I've used the gloss one because it's for water, so I've poured it on really thickly, and as you can see, where it's lower, we've got a good mil or two of the stuff in there. Now it doesn't crack when it dries or anything. You can do like a mil pour and you'll get away with it. It's a bit like using the water effects, the acrylic water effects that the companies sell. And that's more or less what I've done. And I've poured this on once. It dried perfectly. It looked really nice and it really softened up some of the rough areas where it looks like a leather effect, Wayne said. Now, I poured it once, it softened that right off, so I've done a final pour of the stuff, and hopefully when this is dry, it should be really nice and glassy smooth with just the soft wave ripple. So once this is dry, I'm going to give it a day or two to completely set, and then I'll show you how it's dry. But overall now though, guys, it's more or less finished apart from painting the waves. But I'm not going to do that, obviously, till this is dry.
And there you go, it's all done. I'll leave you with just some short clips and some close-ups. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Catch you in a bit.
So guys, yes, I have learnt quite a lot doing this board. One, yes, it is possible to do a nice water table on a very strict budget. Two, I've worked with extending the working time of the Clearfix, which will be a video in the near future. It's awesome, is the Clearfix, for working in a pretty large area. We're using the ISO, but when I've gone onto this, and you've got to bear in mind, that was like 3.5 foot by 3.5 foot, and it was like 2/3 of the table. I mixed up, I think it was 3 and a bit tubes of Clearfix in the end and poured that all on and then stretched it all out. Yeah, it started to dry a bit time I got near the end, so that's where the problems arised. But if I'd used the other mixing mediums that I'm working on now that'd slow it down by another hour or so, it'd have been perfect. Again, we learn all the time, and doing things like this, especially on tight budgets, help you learn things. And I'm very, very happy that I've discovered that we can slow it down for bigger builds, which meaning making water tables like that can be done on a cheaper budget rather than using resin. Because if I were using epoxy on that, it would have cost about £150 to £170 worth of epoxy. So, yeah, it's a nice, cheaper alternative. Using the gloss on top, the gloss acrylic varnish on top, gave us a very nice finish. It fixed the, shall we call them, errors from using the clear fix with ISO in it. But it also gave it a lot nicer finish. It added another layer of depth. It was like a filter on top, which I really like. So that's something that I'm going to start playing with more in the future as well. Overall, a very interesting build and a very nice, cheap budget table. I think the overall cost, taking time out of it, so just the material costs, you're probably looking at around £80 to £100, and that was for everything. And I have a lot of it left over. Like, I had loads of palm trees left over, I had loads of foam left over, I had quite a bit of wood left over. So not an expensive build, but there was about three and a half days worth of labour in it. So I did hit the budget just right. So it's good. It's nice to know that it is very, very possible. So if you've liked this video, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe as you do. Hit the bell if you want to be notified when I upload twice a week. Didn't mean to do that. I did. If you want to support me, don't forget to check out my shop where you can buy the clear fix. You can buy most of the products that I've used on this table. If you are based in US or Canada, you can buy it from the shop below as well, which there is US distributors, and they will sort it out so you don't have to pay expensive postage from the UK. We have Amazon affiliates for anything that I use regular that I don't sell on my store. Plus, if you just use Amazon as you normally do and you go through my link, it helps me out as well and gives me a bit of a cut that way. But it doesn't affect your pocket. I have Teespring for anybody that wants t-shirts, comical mugs, stickers, all that bajaggles. Check that out as well if you're interested. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you again for another video next week. Love, love, love.